Welcome. 5 Minutes with KeRusso. We're back into this quest to understand the Bible, and we're looking at Genesis right now, the very beginning of the Bible. Now, I'm not really all that smart, and I read and I study what other people say and have written to help me understand. And I want to share with you, just let you know about this book. It's called The Lost World of Adam and Eve, and it's written by a guy by the name of John Walton. And he put me onto a lot of stuff that I'm sharing with you in this text, in these segments here. I don't agree with everything that he says in this book, and you don't have to. You don't have to agree with everything somebody writes. But he has some stuff here that's worth knowing. And like I said, he put me onto some good things, and I'm sharing bits and pieces of that with you. So what we're looking at is this creation that this supreme God did. And chapter 1, couple of verses sets up basically this scenario. There's this rock that we call the earth, that we know as the earth, as part of this whole cosmos. Okay. And it's non-functioning, it's non-productive. And the Spirit of God is moving over these waters of chaos with nothing's really happening. And he's going to begin to create something only the supreme God can do. He's going to make it functional. He's going to make it productive. Well, how does he do that? In verse 3 and down through verse 5, it's written that God said, "Let there be light." And so this light appears and he calls it day and night. He separates light from darkness and calls it day and night. Now, when we think about God creating light, we think about the sun, the moon, the stars, that kind of stuff. But that doesn't happen until the fourth day. In verse 14, you'll see that. So what's he creating here? He's creating day and night. He's creating the basis for time. And you're going to have that if you're going to have this rock be productive and functional. Now, if you look in verse 6 down through verse 8, God creates this expanse of water. He separates water. He's got water above, he's got water below, and in between is, your text might say there's a firmament or a vault or something like that. Well, what he's doing, what's in between is this rock, okay? Or, sort of in between, okay? But there's water underneath it and there's water up above it. And what's above it is the sky, okay? And this water is how God is going to water this rock. Now, you might know that dew is part of how God does that. And dew comes from underneath. It comes up. And water comes from the sky in the form of rain or snow. But what God is creating here is really the basis for weather, to how he can water this planet that we call Earth. And then if you look in verse 9, God begins to take some of this water down below and he begins to separate it and get land, and you begin get vegetation and the plants and the trees, those kind of things. He creates those. The basis for food. So in the first 3 days, what God has done when he creates a basis for time, he creates the basis for weather, he creates the basis for food. And then he's ready to do some other things with it. And we'll talk about that the next time. But you can't have life on this planet without those 3 things. Now, if you look at Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, after you have this flood that wipes out this life, God reestablishes those 3 fundamental things that are needed on this planet in order for there to be life, for this earth to be functional and productive. Time, weather, and food. That's what God does here on these first 3 days. It's an incredible creation. This God is awesome to be able to do something like this. And when you look at what he's done, you and I should be just in awe that this God who is supreme is able to figure all this stuff out. You want to know who the most brilliant scientist is anywhere? It's God. There's never been a scientist who understands all of this like he does. He's just magnificent. And you should just know that about him. He's not just a scientist, he is the supreme God. And all life comes from him. And we'll get into that more as we look more at this first chapter in Genesis. But thank you so much for spending time with me this segment. I hope it blesses you. And just remember, you don't get life unless you got time, weather, and the basis for food. We need that. All right. Be blessed. You can send me emails if you want, booksbyKeRusso@gmail.com, or leave a post. Thank you.